Hey everybody, Darren Elliott of the Marketing Mensch. Getting ready to start part two of this presentation. This is the last presentation that we're doing, concluding the What's in Your Marketing Toolbox. And this is part two with sales tips to get you noticed. So let's go ahead and let's get started on part two. And we are going to talk now about the elevator pitch. Earlier, we were talking about the things that we want to look for when we are wanting to, have a conversation with someone that we don't know. Maybe it's a one-on-one business meeting, or maybe it's a mixer of some sort. So that was what we were talking about then, and now we're going to go into like right now, the elevator pitch. So the things that people usually fear. I'm here to tell you these are the things that you'd want to bring to the table or have in your mind when you are talking to groups or people in a mixer. So the thing is, you want to at least have 5 good points about your business that you're ready to throw out there after listening to what they have to say. Maybe there's a certain service that you provide that might be a way to introduce that. So always have about 5 selling points, sizzle points to your business. Also, avoid network tunnel vision. So a lot of people, what they do is they just figure, I'm going to work the room. Network tunnel vision could mean one of 2 things. One, you are so focused on just distributing your materials and you're out. Or network tunnel vision could also be like you got caught up with one person and you may have had a great conversation, but you just locked in on that one person. You forgot about everyone else in that room that we had to meet or kind of scope out, right? So that's network tunnel vision. So you want to avoid that. Also, when should you say your pitch about your business? That's very key. You notice, if you've been to any kind of mixers, you notice those people who are just as nervous as you are probably, or just as impatient wanting to get out of there, so they just go right for their sales pitch. Well, guess what? You don't even know if I'm interested in what you have to offer. So don't do that, folks. That's why, those questions that we went over in part 1, that's helpful. Get them to talk about themselves, right? So just remember, the people that come from the angle of desperation, the person you're talking to will feel that. Okay, so always just go in, take a deep breath before you go into a mixer or a group or a one-on-one, and just remember this: be yourself. That is so important. Okay. All right, next thing is keep eye contact with who you are talking to, and definitely watch your body language. You don't want to be a distraction, you don't want to be fidgety, but body language could also be like, if they told you something, maybe it wasn't a smart thing that they did with their business, and you're like, oh my goodness, that can make someone feel really silly, and they'll be turned off by you because you're making them feel bad for what they already did. So we definitely want to be selective about the looks and the body language that we're giving off when we're talking to people. So be mindful of that. And also, yes, you should have more than one pitch ready to go. So know your audience. There could be things in your pitch, in one pitch, that is appropriate for one group, but would be better served for another. So just kind of make sure that you have, who you are and what you're about. That's great, but maybe those sizzle points that I mentioned earlier, maybe you can, customize that for who you are speaking to. And then, how do you not suck at this? Well, that's a great question. How do you not suck at anything? You got to keep trying it. You got to keep putting yourself out there. And just realize, once you do, because I did, once I realized that, wow, not everyone is staring at me. Not everyone is a pro at this. Everyone's pretty much in the same boat I am, which is, they're just trying to help themselves and to help their business, and they want to find people who can help them elevate and create a network. So really we're all there to do the same thing. And once you realize that, wow, it just takes such a weight off your shoulders. You're not so nervous, and that's when you could relax. And also remember this, that when you are in a networking group, don't ever think that the world's going to stop. They're going to want your product or service. It's relationship building, right? And it first starts with the likability and the credibility coming from you. So just remember that. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. What will you leave with your prospects, whether it's a one-on-one or a business group setting? Know what you want to bring to that meeting, and don't bring everything because it may not be required. And a lot of people, like I said earlier, they may go into a room and just distribute all their brochures, pamphlets, whatever it is, and they didn't qualify these people. So what do these people do? They throw them away, they leave them on a table, they leave, they throw it on the floor, whatever. So that really kind of connects you with some negative things, being in a waste can, being on the floor, seeing a footprint on your business logo. It just doesn't look good, right? You're being treated, your message is being treated like garbage, essentially. So we want to make sure that we are putting these in the hands of people that really want them, because they will be treated the way that you want them to be treated, okay? So don't just, aimlessly, put that throughout the room. The other thing is the credibility. That rests on what you do for your prospect. So what kind of info are you going to provide that prospect? Are you going to email them, send a note, a phone call, maybe send a referral, do a favor for them? One thing I love to do is, if someone really moved me and I'm like, wow, I had such a great time, I even forgot I was at a mixer, I will handwrite a note and send it to them. Because, and I'm not going to say anything about sales. I'm just going to say how much I enjoyed the conversation, and I look forward to another opportunity to continue it. Yours truly, Darren. And that's it. No business card inserted or anything, because that alone, just keeping it on a personal note, is going to be huge for you. Those things aren't done, unfortunately, anymore. And it is old school, but it's a great old school tactic that I implore you to use for yourself, because it really does work. Okay, the other thing is, let's talk about the $1 million question. It's something that I mentioned in part 1. There's a very important question, and you might think, oh my goodness, that sounds so sales slicky, but it's not. All you have to do is just remember this. Before you leave that person, just ask them, what would be a good prospect for you that I should keep in mind? Okay, now 9 out of 10 have already had that said to them. That's fine. You can put it in any way that you'd want. I want it to be sincere, of course, but trust me, they're not going to be thinking, okay, Darren's going to be sending me some business. No, I'll bet you that they're thinking, Darren's just, like any other, he's just saying like what is a good prospect, but is he going to follow through? You bet I am, because if they're going to be a good connection for me, they're non-competitive, but they can refer business to me, and it's easy for me to refer business to them. You bet the first thing I am going to do is be the one to send that referral. But the referral that I send has got to be qualified. It's not just, oh, here, go talk to this guy. You know that they are serious about doing business, let's say looking for a bookkeeper, and you will send them to the bookkeeper that you have recommended. So you're not sending a tire kicker who's trying to get free information. You are sending someone who is truly looking for a bookkeeper. Now, what does that do? That puts the silent pressure on that person that I met, that bookkeeper, because I just sent them a good referral. Now, I can find out a lot from them at this point. Are they going to reciprocate? And if they do reciprocate, what kind of referral am I getting in return? The leash is short, folks, because you know that you can send them a good referral. What's coming back to you? I know it sounds a little jerky, but truth is, we're in business. What are you going to do for my business? I know that what I can send you you need to reciprocate. So we do it with silent pressure. And if they don't respond or those referrals aren't so good for you, then we know they're not going to be a part of your network. Okay, so that's the $1 million question. Now, the thing to remember with your elevator pitch, if you are going to do an elevator pitch, there's 4 floors to it. And this is the most simplistic way to look at it, just to calm your nerves. The first floor is going to be who you are. The second floor is going to be what you do. The third floor is what could make you unique. And then the last floor would be how you do it and how does it affect them, or how will it positively affect them. If you guys kind of use that as your guide, you could have a pretty flowing elevator pitch and that you could keep to about 1 minute. All right, I'm going over a little 10 minutes here. The person working the camera behind the camera is doing this, so I'm going to speed it up, but I want you to remember this. Okay, first, avoid the anchors who talk too much. As I just said, I'm going a little long. Okay, and then avoid those who are not in your network or your league. I know it sounds jerky, but again, if they can't elevate your business, what's the point? I mean, we're there to get business, right? Okay, so, and I want to also add something to that. Never be a jerk, because they may not be in your network, but they may know someone. And that's where you need to always be that business owner that you want to be. So you want to be that respected business owner. You're going to be consistently nice with anyone. You're never going to make them feel like they're not worthy of doing business with you. So please, because people do talk, okay? And then avoid the haters and the downers to mixing groups. Because you don't want to be labeled as one. If you're hanging out with them, you're probably not going to come across to the others as someone who really wants to be there, and they may avoid you, and that works against everything that we're trying to create for you right now. Also, blogs, articles, updates are great shoulder taps. Find a shoulder tap, a way for you to touch someone that you met at a mixer, or maybe you had a one-on-one meeting. Send them something that's relevant and important to them, and relevant to the relationship you're trying to build. Because that shoulder tap is also a very thoughtful thing that a lot of people don't do. I think personally though, when you really want to land someone's business, the best thing you can do is the handwritten note. That I can't tell you how much business I got from that. And I don't do that stuff where it's like, the font looks like it's handwritten. Please don't do that. That will destroy your credibility. I want you to handwrite it and be selective. I'm not telling you to do it for every meeting that you have. So just the ones that have moved you and you know that, wow, if I send this, I know that that's just going to seal the deal. All right, the other thing, refer someone or something to your new contact based on what they expressed to you while they were speaking. So that kind of goes back to be the one to put up first. Show them that you have followed through. That will catapult your likability and credibility. And folks, that's what sales is all about, likability and credibility. So you want to have that, follow through with what you say, and do it quickly, okay? Also, be a giver. To kickstart the networking process, be the first one to do the referral, okay? Also, let's see. I would love it if you'd connect with me in closing. So I'm getting this, so I want you to connect with me. Either subscribe to this channel and you can get more of these free presentations that I want you to come back. I want you to review the stuff. This is all stuff that you business owners need to or must know in order to do this stuff well. I go over everything and I make it free for a reason because I know that you guys could do this yourself. All right, so please subscribe to this channel, and then you'll be notified of when my next presentation is. And then also my website. Go check out my media page. You'll see the Marketing Mensch on my website, which is www.unetdesign.com. And if you have a question about any of this or from any of my other presentations, please drop me a line, Darren at unetdesign.com. And if I choose your question, I'll always answer your question. But if I choose your question to be on my question of the week, I will do a 30-minute free consultation with you, as well as give you props on your business and yourself for writing in. So anyway, with that said, folks, thanks for going a little long with me. As always, thanks for joining me. I'm Darren Elliott, and I'm your Marketing Mensch.